Hello and welcome to the Independently podcast hosted by Jonathan. Was that inaudible? That very well could have been inaudible. But I'm not gonna check it. I'm not gonna look at anything. I'm gonna do this all in one good solid take because this is a practice. I'm learning how to speak better, improving my vocality. On this selfish podcast where I tell selfish stories about myself. No one even asked me to do it, just decided to do it. Before we get started, as most of you, and by most of you I mean the two viewers, including myself that I have, I made a theme song last week, and it was pretty crazy. However, that theme song is old business, partly because I can't sing or fabricate music. It's not one of my talents. If I had any, it wouldn't be one of my talents. So I'm calling for help. Help! Please help us. We don't have a theme song. To you, song makers out there that might stumble upon this podcast, I will give you a shout out if you give me a theme song for free. Just go ahead and send that guy at enduplikemepodcast@gmail.com. That would be much appreciated. Once again, that's enduplikemepodcast@gmail.com. I also have a Twitter that's at enduplikemepod. Did I say at in front of the emails? There's no ats at the beginning of the emails. There's none of that business. And then I have a Facebook page called End Up Like Me Podcast. We're about to get into this episode, but I'm sorry, you're gonna have to bear with this disgraceful theme song. Enjoy. Are you ready? Are you sure? Okay. This is the End Up Like Me podcast. The stories are true about my past. Talking to me, oh, that is rad. Might even try to become your dad. Oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. Did that rhyme even flow? No? Oh, well. Oh, this is the End Up Like Me podcast. Even relive calculus class. Who wants to hear about T-ball? I even have one about my sprawl. Did you like my theme song? I think I did a pretty good job with my theme song. I sang for it. I made the beat for it. I put it all together all on my lonesome without the help of anybody. And if that theme song got your heart pumping and your nerves burning, you're in for a treat. Because guess what, little guy? The next 20 to 50 minutes is going to be followed by me saying and at the end of all of my sentences. Brilliant character, Jonathan. You did a swell job with that, the comments will say. Probably not. Why me? Anyways, today we're going to be talking about being a military brat. Which basically means I had a parent or two, or three perhaps. 4? Polygamy? Is that still okay? No, I don't think it is. But I had two parents actually that were in the military. My mother and my other mother, just kidding, my father. But when my mother found out she was pregnant with me, she was able to get out of the military, so I don't quite count her for a military lifestyle while I was alive, because for the most part she... excuse me. One take. We're doing one take. None of this cutting stuff together and confusing yourself garbage. Because, okay, so when I cut stuff and move them around, sometimes I'm not sure if I said like a certain sentence or not. And then I'm afraid that I might like reference that sentence later on without noticing. That will be just all sorts of weird. But anyways, so my mom was able to get out of the military. And my father is still currently in the military. I'm only like 21 years old, so my dad's still in his mid-40s, or no, high 40s? High 40s. It's probably high 40s. And he's still going strong. But the military, it really shaped me. I'm not sure in good ways or bad ways, maybe a little bit of both. But when you're, okay, so basically how my general childhood it looked like. So we lived in a fine enough roof over our head. Whoa, that was a weird way to say it. But we lived in a house, so we weren't like homeless, and my dad wasn't shooting like coke in the streets. So it wasn't, I'm not going to say it's a bad childhood. It's a perfectly fine childhood. Don't get me wrong, whenever I'm saying things, I know there's thousands upon thousands of people, millions, billions of people who have it way worse than I do. Not complaining. I'm not trying to make this a podcast about complaining. I'm just saying how things went. And I love my life. Once again, would never change anything about it. Anyways, so my dad, needless to say, being in the military, he had to go away a lot, whether it was being TDY or deployed. I think before, okay, so I remember 9/11 happened when I was like 6 years old. I don't remember that day at all, so I'm one of those people that can't tell you what I was doing or what happened. It just never sank in for me. I know what a dumb kid. But yeah, it just didn't sink into my head. But anyways, so my dad got deployed quite a lot, and I think 9/11 was probably a pretty big trigger, because sending the boys off to the Middle East, more than likely that's the case. And I remember my dad being gone for months, and my siblings and I, we were like terrified that he was never going to come back, because he'd constantly go and leave, and then he'd be gone for like, I feel like 6+ months. I'm not sure. Small brains can't remember time. I still can't remember how time occurs. Like, it seems so fast nowadays. But anyways, so as kids, we were terrified that we'd never see our father again. Each of us had our own song that we associated with our dad for when he got deployed. And I don't listen to music. I'm not a music person. So but I still can remember the words to the song that I would listen and cry to when my dad was gone and I really missed him. I don't know the name of the song because I'm a piece of crap who can't remember information like that. And I'm not about to try singing it for you because we all know how that theme song went. But there one line very powerful to me. It was like, "You're a whisper in the wind. I think I'll be there till the end." So if you really like trying to figure out what song that is, be my guest. You probably could do it. It's not that hard. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I could figure it out. But anyways, so that was basically my song that I would listen to while I was crying that my dad wasn't there to be with me. So for the most part, when my dad was gone, it was just my mother, who was no longer in the military, so she could be a stay-at-home mom, and me and my 3 siblings. I was the oldest. I know, a hero am I. I think I'm a terrible big brother, actually, but that's a different episode. And I remember I would try going to my mom to do the things that my dad would do. Like, my dad, he used to make the coolest of coolest paper airplanes. He still does. I can just do it better. I'm just kidding. But so I think this was probably before it was deployment and this was TDY, because I remember a specific memory when I was 4 of me going up to my mother and asking her to make I think I said, like, "Can you make that plane that Dad makes that goes loop-de-loop?" or something like that. And I swear, my mom tried her hardest. I think she gave it like 5 good solid paper airplane tries, and she put like probably 5 minutes in each. So that's like a good 25 minutes, which is astounding when you're trying to focus on 2 other children at the same time. So great job by her. Great job. However, not a single one of those suckers flew. They were cool. They were really like these. She used a whole sheet of paper and made a really compact paper airplane that was like throwing a paper ball, basically, but they look like planes. So they didn't fly, but you could throw them pretty hard. Pretty cool, Mom. Not what I asked for. Sorry, I miss Daddy. Miss Daddy so much. And then there would be other times where I would ask my mother to play catch with me. This is when I was a bit older. So I was like I like my thing. I remember my thing being, this was probably like kindergarten and first grade. I really liked to jump up for the ball and catch it right as it's like speeding above my head. So basically a fast pitch right over my head so I can jump up and catch it. And I remember stressing that to her so many times, but she would not stop throwing like an underhand ball. Because she was worried she was going to hurt me. She probably could have. I mean, definitely she could have. I'm just some kid that's asking you to throw fastballs at... Yeah, I was asking her to throw fastballs at me, and she wasn't comfortable with that. I probably would have actually gotten hurt. But yeah, so it was almost as if my dad's been around for my growing up childhood for only half my life, which I'm so grateful for, because I know there's so many people on this planet. They have a single parent, or they have zero parents, such as my wife, who actually was in the foster home system. So when I think of anytime I think about anything, I'm just thinking, wow, I had it way better growing up. I shouldn't take things for granted. Yeah, that I don't want to get too much into it, because that's my wife's private life, and I don't want to say anything that she might not be comfortable with. I mean, I already know she basically isn't comfortable with it, so I'm just going to stop here with that. But now I don't know what I was talking about. But I got to do this in one take, so that means I can't stop, re-listen to the segment I just recorded, and vice versa. This is a practice run. Probably should not point out that it's a practice run, but I'll do what I freaking please. Just kidding. Anyways, so besides like not being able to see my dad all the time, I mean, actually no, continuing from that, I think it's a main so when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure, positive even, that I was spoiled freaking rotten. And I'm more than confident in saying it was because my parents felt bad that my dad was constantly gone. Like, he would come back from, like, trips, and I remember him always bringing home these Pokemon toys. Probably not deployment. This was probably TDY. Like, he brought home this, a Pikachu, a Bulbasaur, and a Squirtle. And they're all, like, these small little stuffed plushies that were probably about 6 inches tall, and you could put them inside out, and they'd be a Pokeball, and they had a zipper and everything, and it was one of my favorite toys. I hope it didn't get really quiet. I just moved really far back from the microphone so I could create the toys in my hand, like with hand motions. So I really hope I didn't mess things up. And then just all toys all the time, like. We had so much stuff. I remember growing up that our rooms were always like covered in crap that would like toys, boxes, just garbage, not necessarily garbage, just like Legos spilled everywhere, never cleaned. And maybe that was because my mom was having a hard enough time trying to get one of us to clean our room. It was nearly impossible to get all three of us. And we were more than happy to just sit in the garbage and not clean. Separate thing, but what they used to have to do in order to inspire us to start cleaning is they would get a trash bag and start throwing away all our stuff. Oh my gosh, I remember thinking that was like the most traumatizing thing as a 4-year-old, is that my mom's coming in with a garbage bag and she's going to throw away all my things. No, I'm so privileged. But, so basically my character was not a very good one. Not a very good one indeed. But I do think there is a good thing that came out of this. the whole military thing, is that we had to constantly move, which basically is a fresh start, as well as you have to learn how to make friends lesson every 2 to 3 years. The longest I've ever lived in any place before I graduated high school was 3 years, which is kind of like BS, man. I've never lived anywhere longer than 3 years before I turned 18 or 19 years old. It's crazy, I know. So I moved like 10 times. I think exactly 10 times. I'm not sure. Sometimes I'm not thinking. But anyway, so the movement went, I was born in Texas. My dad was getting his master's degree. The Air Force sent him back to like Texas A&M to get his master's. And the day he was supposed to do present his master's thesis, I came into this world, so I think he had to like rush through it. I'm not sure. I remember them telling me this story. I just don't remember it because, like I said, memory, wind goes through my brain and dust comes out. Anyways, so, and then from Texas, we moved to Guam, where my little brother was born. And I don't remember Guam at all. Don't even try asking me if it was hot there. I'm sure it was hot. I don't remember it. And then from Guam, we moved to Hawaii. Now, luckily for me, I actually have some memories of this place. We have photos. My sister was born there. That's a note. My sister was born there. I vaguely remember going on a trail that was supposed to go up to a volcano. I remember walking and knowing that I was going to see a volcano, and I was probably on the side of it, and I thought I was going to see lava. I remember knowing that. I don't remember the end result. And then I also remember seeing Pearl Harbor and going to see the boat that was under the water. But at last, I don't remember the memory of actually seeing the huge battleship sunken, which would have been a pretty cool thing to remember. But I had to remember the part where we were going to see it. And then I remember this boss-ass place called Sea Life Park. It was so cool. It was probably one of my favorite places in Hawaii growing up, because now I'm just like really into sea animals. Like I'm not into a lot of things, so me being into sea animals, I mean, I'm more into it than other things that I'm not into. But anyways, I remember being able to feed a dolphin. I'm like 4 when we lived in Hawaii, by the way, so memories here are very vague and hard. And I remember, there was like this pirate guy. I'm not going to get into Sea Life Park. That's probably a different episode. Just kidding. Not enough content to cover. So from Hawaii, we moved to North Carolina, and then we moved to a different place in North Carolina. If you listen to the last podcast, I think it was so I could go to a different school because I was dumb. And then from North Carolina, Florida, and then from Florida, Alaska. We did a whole freaking drive from Florida to Alaska. It felt like freaking ages, dude. And then from Alaska, we drove again to freaking DC area, Virginia. And this is when I start middle school. So Virginia is basically 7th and 8th grade of my life. And then we moved to Pennsylvania. That's my start of high school. And then from Pennsylvania to Virginia, that's my second year of high school. And then from Virginia to Nebraska, the freaking corn of the cob state. So, geez, I forgot the count, but tons of freaking moves. So basically, there's been so many things that I remember in my life that, thanks to moving, I'm able to walk away from. I remember living in Florida, and I mooned a girl in church, just 'cause I didn't like her, just straight out. Pulled my pants down in the middle of like some service and mooned this chick. When I say chick, she was my age, so it was probably like 2nd to 4th grade. And then I have this other memory of this girl came to like tease me and make fun of me. No, I was stupid. So this is what I thought she was doing. She might have not been. Give her the benefit of the doubt. And how I responded was I put my back up against the bus and I shoved her out with my feet and kicked her out. Just complete a-hole material type stuff. I'm going to have to cut real fast because Simon just woke up from his nap. Can you hear it? I don't know if you can hear that. It's happening, though. I'm going to give it a pause real fast. Oh, geez, that kind of ruined my train of thought, but I'm trying so hard to do this all in one take. So, despite if the content that I just said was good or bad, it's staying in, guys. Anyways, I'm just going to have a whole long list of confessions. This is a confessional of things that I did that embarrassed me and probably were very unacceptable. For instance, I remember so this is part of me fitting in. Two things of me fitting in. So there is a girl in one of my classes when I moved to a different school in Alaska. I'm not going to say her name, but she was one of the teacher's daughters. And she had left her journal out on the floor. And me being the hero that I am, actually the villain that I was at that moment, I decided, hey, let's pop this puppy up and read it in front of class. And by in front of class, I mean to the kids next to me, because I was way too shy to start doing that. And I started to read not all of her stuff, just a few things. However, she probably had stuff in there that she was scared that I probably read. So no matter the outcome, the fact that I read anything from her journal was evasive. Blah, blah, blah. It ruined her privacy. She couldn't be sure of what I knew, what I didn't, and it basically hurt her pretty badly. I'm not proud of it. I'm actually, if you can't tell, I'm kind of like my throat's crackling a little bit because I'm so ashamed that I did that to my classmate, and just so I could fit in. Yeah, it's the most egregious thing. I was very bad at fitting in, so I think I was desperate probably, but that's no excuse. Now I'm saying all these ums because I'm just so embarrassed that I'm confessing about this. I don't know if we ever made up about that. I only was in that school for a year before we moved again. I was very bad at making friends. Let me just say that. Whenever I lived in a place, I probably had one friend, maybe two. Because I was not, on top of being weird, I was also an asshole. I'm probably still an asshole that's trying his best not to be an asshole anymore. But it doesn't change the fact that I'm still an asshole. Now I'm saying, I'm so much, gosh dang it. Then let's go on to this next agreed. Okay, so I'm bad at making friends. We got that pointed out. There was another tale I had to tell that I can't think of that I didn't make friends. Oh, I remember, so the freshman year of high school, about this age, I realized that I can be funny and that people think I'm funny, and then that gets me a few friends, like a handful. A handful being two, I can only fit two friends in my hands. I don't have massive hands, but anyways, I knew I was kind of funny, and so I was sitting in with this group of guys who would make stupid, inappropriate jokes all the time. Not really their friend, but kind of like a guy that just hung around at lunch, because I'm not about to sit by myself, guys. I was trying very hard back then to fit in, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be at this high school forever or for a year. Spoiler alert, only lived there for a year. And I remember one day, essentially the leader of the group. Now, I don't remember what happened, but I said something to him, and I think he took that as a challenge. And he started saying, "Suck my dick." And I'm like, no. And he goes, suck my dick. And I'm like, no. And he's like, suck my dick. And then I finally say, how about you ask Adam? It looks like he will. And Adam was this metrosexual guy who was in our group of friends. And I just decided to throw that kid under the bus because he was an easy target to pick on. And now I'm staring at my keyboard. Me and him became friends at the very least. He was right there when I said it, so it wasn't like said it behind his back. No excuse, but oh my gosh. Like I said, confessional of how I was a terrible person. I'm not even going to say how I'm not even going to privilege myself with an explanation that makes me look better, because I don't really deserve like sympathy. I don't. I was kind of a monster just to make friends with people. Not that bad of a monster, but I was feeding off other people in order to make some sort of friendship. And guess what, guys? I never had a solid. None of those friendships were even close to being solid friendships. They were just kind of, you're allowed to be in this friendship, but you're not that close into it type stuff. So it wasn't even like I wasn't even making friends with the good kids per se. However, I got a blah 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 blah. I'm not going to talk about the good friendships I had. That could be a different episode. So anyways, I'm a sour puss altogether. Terrible person, mean as friggin' buckets, and I have to move yet again. And at this point, I'm figuring out how to actually socialize and be a good person, because deep down, I don't think I'm a bad guy. I think I was just a good guy who was so desperate to have like a friend and not be so. Whenever I would move, I was the new kid. Always had to watch all the kids play with their friends, and I just didn't have any because I was too shy to introduce myself, and the other students were too shy to say hi to me. I think deep down I'm a very shy guy, and it was just rinse of repeat of not having any friends, kind of getting a friend, and then getting ripped out of my home and put into a different place where I no longer had friends yet again. And I mean, I remember, I know I said I cried a lot for when my dad was gone, but I would also cry all the time that I was leaving what I thought was home again. I remember wishing when I was a kid that I could stay in one place and never move, because it upsetted me so much. Besides the fact that packing boxes sucks. Okay? It sucks, but that's not why I'm upset. So I kind of want to blame my poor behavior on that. But do we really know? Maybe I'm just an evil dude. Maybe. But eventually I started to learn not to be shy, and I could, by the time sophomore year of high school is when it first finally kicked in to where I could go up to a person I didn't know and say, hi, my name is Jonathan. What's your name? It took me freaking, 9 years of schooling to be able to do that. Or 10, because I did kindergarten twice. Before I could introduce myself and have a conversation without sounding like, well, no, actually, I remember sophomore year when I first started doing that, I was still a total dweebus, didn't know what I was doing, no business making friends. And then that sophomore year, I was able to do it. Junior year, a little bit better. And then I started taking theater classes, which basically kind of shriveled up my shyness down to a little peanut. And now I work as a server where my whole job is talking to people that I don't even know, being the first one to initiate conversation, no less, saying, hello, how are you guys? I am not a nervous Nelly anymore. So the fact that I was able to move all the time, I think, is really what brought me out of my shell. And I know I was in a shell because I remember teachers all the time when I moved, they thought I was in a shell. They were like, oh, come on, get out of your shell. Say something, talk to us. Don't be shy. And they would notice how I wouldn't talk to the other kids because I was new. And they all had their friends and I didn't. Oh my gosh, I remember another egregious thing that I did. Okay, just one more because I need to get this off my chest. So at one of the middle school, I think this is when I first attempted to greet people on my own and try to make friends, and it went so poorly that I think I shunned it off for a few years. But there was this one kid, actually I did this I think twice. There was this one kid, his name, I'm not going to say his name, but he was kind of friends with me when I first moved there. He was nice to me and whatnot. And I remember a year go by, didn't really talk to him so much. And then, so that was 7th grade is when I met him, and we were friends for like a month. And then 8th grade came around, and I had friends at the point, some of the cooler kids or the juvenile delinquents. And I remember saying something mean to this kid twice. And he says, why are you being so mean to me? I don't remember if he said anything else after that. I don't. But I will never forget the way that kid looked at me and said, why are you being so mean to me? Because it wasn't too long ago where I was cool with this kid when he was the only person I could talk to. And something similar happened when I was younger, when I was okay. I was friends with this other kid because he was my first friend. And he basically, once I settled in with a few different other people after not like friend-wise, I realized that I started picking on him. And I remember him saying, why are you, basically the same thing. Like, there's 2 instances of my life where someone's asked me why I was being mean to them and why I was bullying them. It's just such a cowardice thing. I don't know if this episode's on being me growing up in the military or me being just a complete asshole to people. Like, oh God. So I remember the first day I went to this school. I remember the very first lunch. It was App and Glow. It's a elementary school in Alaska. And I remember in class seeing that this kid, he had this Aragon book. I don't know if I told the story before. I've already recorded a Military Brat episode, but I didn't publish it because I said too much, so I'm redoing it basically. But I'm trying to stay off the same layout I did. So it's a completely different layout than the first recording, so it's a little disorganized and disjointed. But I wanted it to be that way so it didn't seem like I was practicing. But anyways, I'm not sure if I've told this story before because I'm confused at this point. But this kid, he was reading a book that I had read. The book was Aragon. It was one of my favorite books at the time. And I was like, I'm going to make that kid my friend. I always go friendless for the longest time. I'm going to make that kid my friend. And so at lunch, he's sitting at the cafeteria table. He's all by himself, and there's a seat to his right. And I notice that there's this girl walking to sit next to him. So what I do is I run up and I cut her off and I sit next to him. Unknowingly to me, that those 2 kids, that boy and that girl, they were best friends. And the kid, he looks at me and says, "Don't worry, Aaron, I'll move." Oh my gosh. This is really embarrassing for me, so I don't even know how to make a story off of that. It's probably not even a big deal to some people. That desperate moves were made a lot. I I don't know. I want to say I'm done with this episode. I'm just so disappointed about myself at the end of this. I was in a good mood. Not that I deserve to be, as I am a bully man. That bullying thing, though, I will admit it stopped junior and senior year of high school when I was able to get, I think, finally figure out me. And I wasn't upset all the time that I didn't have friends or friends that were close. I've only had like one or two best friends ever in my life, excluding my wife. I don't know what to say. I'm so disappointed by myself. There's probably twice as many instances of me just destroying some kid. Not physically, verbally. That I don't even remember, that might even haunt somebody to this day. I don't think I did anything, I maybe not so much on haunting somebody, but something that I did that negatively impact somebody else. Jesus. I think I'm going to wrap up this episode because I basically spoke. So that's that. When it comes down to it, that's the tricky thing. I'm not sure if growing up as a military kid was good for me, because then I wasn't able to get attention from my dad. But so many people do great and they don't have any parents because they're genuinely good people. So that's not an excuse. And then I was never allowed to make a connection with a person that I like. Any friendship I made, I knew this is only temporary, and then I'll never see this person again. To this day, if someone gets fired at work, I'll be sad I'll be sad because they're my friend and I'll miss them, and I'm that kind of guy. Most people, they wouldn't be sad in the slightest, but I get sad, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, probably the next day I'll go, I'm never going to see that person again, and I'm okay with that. And that idea, that thought is just so depressing that I feel like any friendship I make is just meaningless. Like, I've probably met thousands upon, like 1,000. Okay, name a person that knows a lot of people, and I probably met just. I'm sorry, I'm losing my ability to speak. I'm trying to say I've met more people than the average person because I'm moving. And I don't value, I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore. I should just cut this off. Thanks for watching. If you want to send me hate mail for being a diva roach. No, not a diva roach. That's a Jake and Amir thing. Once again, that's enduplikemepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send me a bag of poop, my address is 111-111-110 Binary Lane. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye. I'm just editing up this video, and as I'm listening to it, I just want a big disclaimer out there. Not an advocate of bullying. Obviously, that's something I regret. If you're listening to this and you're a bully, stop it right here, or bully me. Send your wrath upon me by tweeting at me. No, but seriously, like the thing that I said to one of my friends because he was metrosexual that he might want to do a certain thing. If that's the kind of thing he likes doing, fine by me. I'm not trying to be homophobic either. That was just me being a foolish teen. Unacceptable, unforgivable. People can easily be damaged just from the words you say. So watch what you say to other people. Make sure it's kind. I know it's a cliche, but say things to others that treat others like you treat yourself, type deal. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. Don't bully children. Anyways, once again, bye-bye.